Good morning. Our hand today is going to be Jack 6 off. This is a 50 NL game. For an early position, we fold that hand. Then we have a limp. We have a limp, a raise to 5 big blinds, a call, big blind calls, and the limper calls. So we're going to start with the limper. He's playing 37-4, definitely a loose player. You can see VPIP is rather high just across the board. Raise first in stats pretty low. I think Ray's first in stat must be like aces, kings, queens, ace, queen, ace, king, maybe jacks and tens. We've got a few notes. We got a 3-bet range of queens, 4-bet range of queens. We've got, called 3-bets out of position, king 6 suited, he's queen off. So that just kind of fits with kind of limping range here. That's 31.5%. We do know he raises first in. Doesn't raise a lot. We know the pocket pairs he definitely does. So his raise first in's 5 out of 73. We're just going to go with like jacks plus ace king and ace queen suited. I think that's sufficient. That's 28.2%. Maybe a little bit wider, but I think that's pretty good. Now it comes back to him as a raise and then a call, and I think he's probably just calling all of these. He's playing. He wants to play. I don't think he's going to fold. It's going to take a lot more to get him to fold than just a 5 big blind bet. Besides that, you already have 2 callers, so he's getting, he's got to call 4 to win 15, 16 big blinds. I think he's going to be calling. Razor is playing 18-12. Stats are looking pretty good. I think he's going to be pretty honest in terms of the range that he has. I'm guessing here you've got a pre-flop raise of 14%, raise first in is 17%. We're looking at like about a 15% raising range here. Pre-flop, he can have raise with previous limpers, 1 of 27 for the cutoff, 7 of 50 for the mid position. So definitely when we look at his range, we're looking something like this. This is 14.5%. Maybe we could add also the rest of the pocket pairs. That'll bring us up to 60. I think I am going to do that. But you've got a pretty strong range for him. Next 2 players, we don't have a whole lot on the big blind, but we do have this guy, 30% VPIP. We look at cutoff, 32%. Raise first ins 13, pre-flop raises 4, limp first ins 25%. His cold call stats 4 out of 12, 2 out of 10. I think he's probably going to be less likely to 3-bet unless you have a decent range. And the notes that we have is that a 3-bet range is queens. So we've got a call 2 bets from blinds. We've got a 3-bet range. Question is, what's it's going to be his 3-bet range? How far down? I think definitely jacks plus is probably 3-bet. I said ace queen plus first 3-bet, and then I kind of put together the suited aces, suited kings, gappers, connectors, suited 1 gappers, broadways, and so forth. That kind of fits like the loose 30%. At least that's 23.4%. Facing a 5 big blind bet. That is a larger size bet for this game. That's probably okay. We're dealing with cutoff of 32%, and then probably scaling it back, facing a raise. Calling 20, cold call is 2 out of 10. Call 2 bets 4 out of 12. So we're gonna go with that. And then I took this range and basically did the same range for this player. We have 28 hands, that's it. Minus queens plus ace king. I'm going to say that's a standard 3-bet. So we've got ranges for all 4 players. What does the flop do? The flop gives us Kc7c7. So I do believe this could be a donk flop. Or I'd see players donk flop, and they would do that with, maybe a hand like 8s, 9s, or 10s. They would lead here, or like a king 8, king 9, or king weaker hand, weaker kicker, because they're trying to see, how strong people are. Do other people have a king? I think that's kind of where I expect the donk to happen. So here's this guy that shoves. And that's crazy, if you ask me. This is just absolutely crazy. Do I have any other notes? We got king, queen, 10-7. I've got 10-7. Would he do that? I mean, with trips, again, this just seems unusual. Very unusual. And probably a bad hand to review at this point. So would he do it? Yeah, I guess he would do it. I can't imagine him doing it with quads or full house. Maybe with the top pair, like good kicker. Like maybe king, queen, king, jack 50% with king, jack, maybe. Would he include a flush draw? I mean, his problem right now is that he's doing a 18.37% with, you know, 3 of a kind and then like maybe a top pair hand. He doesn't really have any draws that kind of back it up, unless this is just a flat out bluff. So yeah, at this point, this is looking like it's strictly a value hand, is what it looks like. So 3 of a kind, top pair. Villain 1. Well, they all fold, no big surprise. But then villain 3 calls. So of these players, this player calls, and the question is, what's he gonna call with? On a play like that, I think you're gonna get like king, queen. I don't really think king, jack is gonna call. I'm gonna do like 33% for him. I really just don't think king, jack's gonna call. I think sevens are gonna call. Of course, full house and the quads are going to be calling, but again, you're going to be basically no quads in a full house. You don't. You're ahead, and then possibly the full house. I mean, you're not getting the odds to draw to it. That's the difficulty. So, and it's basically 46% chance to win. You normally don't have that with the draws, so you're, you know, really when facing this, you're probably just going to have to fold. He didn't. He called. So it runs out 3 and 2. So he shows jack 7. He shows king, queen. So we did have both plays. I didn't have jack 7 on this guy. I didn't have jack 7 in his actual range. But I had the other sevens that I said I assumed he would call. So 10-7, 9-7. If he has jack 7 and queen 7, he also has those as well. And king, queen. So I don't like this guy's hand at all. I don't like how he played it. There's really no reason to bet that. He's just betting because he's scared. He just blew off, you know, 100 plus big blinds on a hand like that, and you know, people do that. That's how they do it. So let's take some notes on these players, and then we have to comment on the play, because you do see some players that play like this. So this guy overcalled, or actually he just called MPs 5 big blind ISO raise in cutoff with jack 7 diamonds. He is in position. He called. That was probably 6x pot all in. All right, so king of clubs, 7 of clubs, 7 of hearts, 3 of hearts, 2 of spades. All right, so now this guy, he overcall, MPs 5 big blind, ISO raise in big blind with king queen spades. He is in position. Bet 6x all in. All right. So what do we do when we face a player like this? You take notes, you pay attention. So when we looked at the notes that we have called 2-bet from blinds range kings queen and 10-7. So we know that a 7 could be in his range. He could be doing this. It possibility that he also has top pair type hand. A bet like this really does look like I'm betting because I don't want anyone to chase a flush draw. So the question is, should we chase the flush draw? Normally we don't. Because when we go back to the flop, you needed 46% equity to get to that. And do we have that? No, we don't. So let's take a look at it. So I've got Equilab over here. We're going to add the flop here. So we've got a king 7. Okay. This player went all in. No, this player went all in. So we're just going to give him that hand. And then this player, we are going to eliminate that and say we just have all of the flush draws. And we can actually let's start small. Let's say we've got 8, 9. So you've got backdoor straight draw as well. And you have flush draw. I don't think we have any flush draws here. Kings are taken up, 7s. Yep, yeah, so we've got no flush draws here. So just on that, where we've got our flush draw with backdoor straight potential, we've got 32%. That's short of that 46%. What if we change it? So that was 8, 9. What if we do just something like ace queen? Is that going to change it? It's not really going to change it much. It gives us 36. And the reason we've bumped up a little bit is an ace now becomes an out. And it's because villain has some of those king queen hands in his range. If we exclude those kings, then our frequency goes, or our expectation goes down lower, because now we can't catch that ace to win the hand anymore. So what if we just say we're going to do all of the flush draws that we have? Is that really going to change our frequencies? Nope, you can see we're right at 33%. All of those non-ace hands are going to pull down our equity a little bit closer to that 33% range, which is far from 46%. What happens, though, if we think villain is also doing that with all of his flush draws? So he does add in his flush draws as bluffs. All right, so let's go back here, and we said, if he has all those flush draws, how does it compare if we have a flush draw? Well, it still is only 38%. If we have a flush draw, it makes it less likely that villain also has some of those flush draw hands. So it's not as great of increase. Of course, if we have 7, 2, then we're talking range versus range, but that's normally not what we're looking for. What we're looking for is always just like we have our hand. Should we call based on the odds? And that's, I think, what you really need to look at. So here, even with the 9-8 at this point, 33%. If we do the ace queen, now we're up to 47% because we've thrown in a bunch of those, bunch of the flush draws. And not only that, but now with the ace, if the flush comes up and villain is also on the flush draw, we've got the nuts. So maybe that's ace queen. Let's see. It's potentially it's all of these. Let's do the ace 2. Yep, even with ace 2, we're basically right at that point where we can call. if we think the villain's going to make this play with all the flush draws, and I just don't think players do that. You'll have to watch them. You'll have to watch them. So, did villain make a good call? Yeah, I think villain made the good call with a 7. This guy, I think he made a very, very bad play here. You've got king queen. There's going to be a 7 out there. I'm not surprised he donks. I mean, donk flop at 50%. But still, you've got top pair, you've got second kicker. Why are you betting all of that? Any 7's going to call, and you've got actually, you've got a loose player here and a loose player here that can have a 7 in his range, and maybe even this guy could have a 7. I think it plays better if you just check this, check call, check the turn, see what develops. If it goes check on the turn, then maybe you could bet the river. But at this point, I think if it checks to this cutoff position, I don't think he's going to let it check through. With his 7, he's going to bet because there's that flush on the board. And that should kind of tell you when it goes check, check, check. If he bets, kind of say, okay, well, he could be doing that with the king. He could be doing that with the 7. So then you check again. And if he fires big again on a non-club, then chances are he probably has a 7. So hopefully you enjoy this hand. I wish it was a little bit better. I mean, we ended it up, but you know, these types of players are out there. They're gonna overbet shove. You know, I'm gonna say for no reason, and they have a reason in their mind. You know, but normally there's better ways to play. So hopefully you like this. If you do, you can look tomorrow for another.